Hello, everyone. Take two. This is today's live, and we're picking it up where I left off. I hope that some of you can join me here again. My apologies for that. Life happens, and that was something that needed my attention. So I really appreciate you guys understanding that. And I am a powerhouse of positivity, turning setbacks into comebacks. That it's really a perfect interlude into what I wanted to talk to you guys about today, which is mindfulness. There's a lot going on in the world today, and it's really easy to get caught up, maybe not in so much the narrative, but that too, but just the energy of it. And mindfulness is a really great way, along with a daily affirmations practice, to keep you here and now, to keep you centered and to benefit your well-being. It's just another part of the approach to recovery, in my opinion, or my approach to recovery. Let me rephrase that. I learned mindfulness, honestly, through my own personal therapy. Having gone through some serious setbacks in my life and some of the more recent ones, it was time that I really dug deep and did some self work. And it's okay to need to talk to somebody sometimes. It's not healthy to get stuck up here all the time. And it was in the time of COVID. And so I know we were all affected by that on some level. It touched all of us. And so I needed someone to talk to. And it was a really beautiful experience because they were more conversations. And it helped me to learn who I am and learn how to handle some things that maybe I didn't have coping skills for before. And so mindfulness was a big one for me. I had already learned of affirmations and had been doing that to change my negative self-talk and my negative outlook and living in a state of fear for me. And so doing those affirmations and helping to reprogram the way I speak to myself was imperative to my recovery. And it still is. Um, we got to remind ourselves, that we got this. We're okay. We're here for a reason. If we couldn't handle it, we wouldn't be here. We have everything we need and we're going to be okay. But I don't want to get too far off course here, even though I already kind of have. But back to mindfulness. I've made some notes. Mindfulness is the practice of acknowledging what you're feeling. It's so important to acknowledge our feelings. It's easy for us to want to push them down or to push them aside and to pretend they're not there. And honestly speaking, that's where the problem is. By not acknowledging them and stuffing them, we're creating, it's just a disaster for an explosion. It's just not healthy. And mindfulness is a healthy approach to dealing with these uncomfortable feelings. When we acknowledge our feelings and go, yeah, you know what? I'm sad. I'm mad. I don't like I'm seeing. I don't like what's going on. I don't like how I feel. We acknowledge that feeling, but when we acknowledge that feeling, it's important for us not to judge that feeling, or to think that we're a certain way because we're having that feeling. We're human. We're designed to feel. That's part of this human experience, is to feel all the feels. How could we understand the depth of joy without having walked through the depth of sorrow? There's a duality in life, and that's one of them. You can't know one without the other. If every day was good, there would be no good because every day would be the same, if that makes sense. And so mindfulness is the acknowledgement of our feelings of discomfort or negativity or stress or even feeling stuck, in like that procrastination or analyzation paralyzation That's a fun little term I heard, and it really just kind of resonated with me, which means you sit there and you think about a situation and you think it and you just overanalyze it. And in doing so, you're paralyzed from overanalyzing. So that's something that I personally work on and have worked on and am working on. Um, so by practicing mindfulness and becoming aware of our feelings, we can now redirect our attention to something else to help us to navigate ourselves out of that place. Um, Mindfulness helps us to support our well-being by giving us a way to manage these feelings and negative emotions. You can practice mindfulness anywhere, anytime. It's not something that you need to set aside, like if you had a daily meditation practice, and you set aside a block of time for you to go and spend quiet time, whether that's in prayer, in meditation, however that looks for you. This is outside of that. This is in the moment. Say you go into a store and you're feeling overwhelmed and anxious. You can go to an aisle that's not packed and become aware of how your body's feeling. Become aware of the sights and sounds and smells around you to bring you back into the present moment, so you're not focused on all this overwhelm. You can just focus on your breathing, which is a really, really beneficial way of practicing and simple way of practicing mindfulness. Um, there's guided breathing and body scanning and a walk in nature. These are all three things that you can do to practice mindfulness, and I'll go into those a little bit more. But practicing mindfulness means becoming hyper aware of your environment and your body. And like I was saying, your sights and your sounds and your smells and your tastes. And to acknowledge each of these before moving on to the next. So say you're in that overwhelm in the store. You're walking through the produce section into the bakery. You can smell the bread. You focus on that. And how does that smell of bread make you feel? Or cookies, even better. I know for me that always gives a sense of comfort. And so to focus on that smell and to put good feeling toward that, and then to maybe hear the people working back there and chatting and maybe laughing. Now you're brought back into the now, and you're not feeling the overwhelm of everything going around you. And then maybe you turn your cart and you notice somebody smile at you, and you smile back, because now you're not out here in all this overwhelm, but you're back in the present moment. And it helps to shift your attention off that feeling, off that tension, and back into the now. And so you can move forward and navigate through that. And I really hope that this is making sense to you guys. So mindfulness, living in the moment, being here and now, not focused on the past, or maybe what happened yesterday, or that conversation you had, or how that person made you feel, or how that car pulled out in front of you, yesterday, or future tripping, which I know that I've really been good at, and I know that there's a lot of people that I know that have been good at that too, and hi, Karen. Oh, I think I took that down. I felt it was tacky, and so I didn't want to be tacky. I appreciate your heart. Thank you. That just makes my day. I can figure out how to do that. I don't know. I'll look into that. I'll look into that. But thank you. I'm so glad you're here. I'm talking about mindfulness, and it's important in our lives to not get caught up in the chaos of what's going on around us or our feelings. And so I was just saying, living in the moment, being present, accepting yourself. This is a big one. To not judge ourselves. We are our longest commitment in life. Us. We get to live with us, right? People will come and go because that's just how life is. Everybody comes into our lives for a reason or a season, or however that looks. And but we have to live with ourselves. We get to live between these ears here. Let's make it a nice place to be. Accept yourself. You're perfect as you are. You are all right already. My friend Pookie says that, and it's so true. We are all right already. It's when we start putting these self-limiting beliefs or other people's opinions into our mind where we start to judge ourselves. And the way to not do that is to accept ourselves. You are beautiful and perfect and whole and an expression of divinity. So I honor you. Be nice to yourself. Talk. I heard a phrase not too long ago that to speak to yourselves like you would a loved pet. You know, you wouldn't go around criticizing and saying nasty things in nasty tones to something that you love. Speak to yourself in the same way. Accept yourself. You're beautiful and perfect and whole. And then another way of practicing on mindfulness is to focus on our breathing. Me with my anxiety, that's something that really works well for me. When I start getting my breath caught in my chest and I get nervous or anxious because I'm going to go live and, I just get nervous. And I can admit that and accept that and go, okay, I need to get my breathing in check because my body isn't feeling good. And so I'll stop for a moment and breathe in through my nose. And that's right. We got to be our own best friend. We got to be our own cheerleader. We can't wait around for somebody else to do it. That's not fair to us. And it's not fair to somebody else either. So yes, and I'm becoming my own best friend. And it's a beautiful thing. And that goes along with accepting ourselves. Thank you, Karen. It's beautiful. And we have to be. It's so important. And when we have that love for ourselves, we can truly, it just flows to turn it out to others. And so you create beautiful ripples in the world just by loving yourself. Really, it changes the world. You want to change the world? Start with yourself. It's my bit of stoicism for the moment. It allows better emotion regulation. This is something that I struggled with for many years. A lot of us weren't taught growing up emotion regulation because our parents didn't have emotion regulation. It's one of those generational traumas that happens in life. And it's sad and unfortunate. And it doesn't change until somebody stops and says, no, I'm going to focus on me. And this isn't how I want to move forward. And so, by having better emotion regulation, we can have better conflict resolution. We can handle things like that phone call in my first live. I didn't get all upset and angry in times past. It would have probably destroyed my whole day because I had poor emotion regulation. And through practicing my affirmations and mindfulness and many other techniques, it's healed me to a place that I don't have perfect emotion regulation, but I do have better control over it. And I'm grateful for that. And that enables me to approach situations with love and understanding and compassion rather than feeling irrational or out of control. And so for me, that's important. And so in order to have a good mindfulness practice, and just like anything else with the affirmations or yoga or anything that you do daily, working out, it's important to have a consistent daily time to practice it, whether it be in the morning or at night. And I'm going to use a night example right now. I'm going to go into body scanning. I mentioned this earlier. And so this is something like you'd want to probably lay down for and just become aware of your body. And in doing that, you're then going to go from either your head to your toes or your toes to your head. And say you start with your toes, you're going to wiggle your toes, scrunch them up a little bit, see how they feel. Feel that. And then feel your feet, maybe wiggle your ankles around, or you can lay there still and just mentally go through every part of your body and notice what that part of your body is feeling. Is your stomach tight and upset? Are your shoulders sore? Have you been clenched all day from tension that you didn't even realize you were holding? This is one of the benefits of practicing mindfulness. We get to learn our body in these body scans. And so that way, when we start to feel that a part of our body is maybe holding that tension, we can take measures to release that tension through breathing or walking in nature and becoming aware of the birds singing, the way the weather is, and just bringing yourself back into the now and relaxing and accepting the moment for what it is. And if there's something that maybe needs to be addressed, take inspired action toward that. But in practicing mindfulness, I hope it helps you to feel better and more calm through your days. And I'd like to go through a quick breathing mindfulness moment with you just to kind of walk you through. And, I could use one too. I hope all of this has made sense to you. Please feel free to ask me questions if you have any. What are your thoughts? What are your opinions? What do you use? What works for you? I just told you a whole bunch of stuff that works for me, and what I would suggest to help others, because I can't speak on something that I don't know. I can tell you what's worked for me and hopefully it works for you too. But I'm always down for learning too. This is how we grow and get better. And so I would love to hear your techniques. Do you practice mindfulness? Have you heard of it before? I'd love to hear all about it. And so if you have a moment, let's just take a nice deep breath in through our nose. And as we do that, I want you to feel the air as it goes in through your nose and fills your lungs. How does that air feel going into your lungs? How expanded are you when you're taking that inhalation? So let's go ahead and breathe in nice and slowly. Feel that fullness. Hold it for just a moment. And slowly release that. And when you release, let go of some of that tension you're holding. And then we're going to do it again. And I want you to really fill up your lungs this time with that fresh, life-giving air. Ready? Breathing in. Holding for just a moment. And on this release with ah. Really letting it all out. And one more time, in through your nose. Fill it all up. And release. Ah. I hope you feel a little more present and relaxed. And I hope you've enjoyed today's two-part live. And I really would love to hear your feedback and your comments, and tell me what you got from today's mindfulness discussion. Thank you guys for being here with me, and I'm proud of every one of you for doing the work you're doing. You're doing a great job. I love you guys. Talk again soon. Mwah. Bye.